Hi budding engineers, welcome to Structural Engineering Lectures and welcome to a new playlist on the design of steel structures conforming to IS 800 2007 limited design. In today's class we shall see the design of laced column in single lacing system wherein the sections are connected toe to toe or face to face, right? And we'll also see a problem on finding out the effective length of a column. Whereas in the previous class we have seen the design of the laced column system in single lacing system wherein the sections were connected back to back, and also in the previous class we have seen another problem on design of battened column wherein we have designed the battening system for the built up column, right? I hope you are enjoying the discussions on our YouTube channel, right? If you are really enjoying the discussion, don't forget to click like, share, subscribe and comment and turn on notification to our YouTube channel. Now, before we go to the actual discussion, student down, let us see the brief profile of mine. That is, Dr. D. Rupesh Kumar, has obtained my BTech Civil Engineering from Nagarjuna University in 1994, MTech Structural Engineering from JNTU Hyderabad in 2000, and PhD in Structural Engineering from JNTU Hyderabad in 2009. Presently, I am working as Professor of Department of Civil Engineering, University College of Engineering, Osman University, Hyderabad, Telangana State. I have an experience of 27 years, of which 7 years is in industry and 20 years is in teaching and research at graduate, postgraduate levels. My research areas include reinforced cement concrete designs, steel structural design, structural analysis, fault element analysis, earthquake engineering, bridge engineering, structural optimization. I have published 45 research papers in international as well as national journals and conferences, and organized 3 international and national conferences, 11 national conferences, workshops, attended 43 workshops, visited 2 countries, delivered 13 guest lectures, edited 3 books, supervising 14 PhD scholars and supervised 30 ME theses. I am actively involved in various consultancy works that are offered by the department and completed over 750 design proof checks and 150 plus designs of reinforced concrete designs, steel, composite, low-rise, high-rise, multi-story buildings and road and rail bridges, right? Now once we see this brief profile, now let us move quickly to the top the discussions what we'll be discussing in today's class, right? The other day we saw a problem on single lacing system wherein the channels were connected back to back like this, right? Wherein in today's class these are the double lacing system, single lacing system, right? This you are already examined, right? This is what the problem we discussed the other day, right? These channels were back to back and single lacing system, intersecting single lacing system was designed. However, in today's class we shall see the design of channels toe to toe like this, right? Channels toe to toe, right? That is all. Or face to face. This is our toe to toe or face to face. This is the second problem today. I hope what we are discussing today is now briefly explained, right? Now, before we go to the actual discussion, now let me see in brief the codal specifications of the laced columns which I already discussed elaborately the other day. Now let me go to page number 45 of IS 800 student, right? This is page number 48 of IS 800 2007, the codal specifications for the laced columns. This we already discussed elaborately, right, exhaustively. You just go through this. However, I'll give in nutshell what are these, right? Now I'm just putting this like this. Therefore, in nutshell, I can say that the maximum standardized ratio for these laced columns should be taken as 1.05 times the standardized ratio, original standardized ratio, right? And also the moment of inertia about the strong axis IZZ should not be greater than IYY, or in other way we can say that the moment of inertia about the weak axis previously will become a strong axis. Therefore, IYY should not be less than IZZ. Similarly, RYY should not be less than RZZ, right? And also the width of this lacing flat should be 3 times the diameter, right, of the bolt what we are using, and the thickness of this lacing system, for single lacing system, it should not be less than 1 by 40th of the length of the single lacing system, whereas for the double lacing system, like this, it should not be less than 1 by 60th of this length of this lacing, therefore this thickness. And however, this inclination theta with respect to the vertical, right, this with respect to vertical should be greater than 40 degrees and should be less than 70 degrees, right? And however, preferably it should be 45 degree, right? 45 degree. And the spacing, coming to the top of the spacing should be found out like this, that the slenderness ratio of the lacing system, right, lacing system should not be greater than 50 or 0.7 times the slenderness ratio of the entire system as a whole system, right, entire built up section as a whole, right? Therefore, out of these, whichever is minimum. However, and also another coded specification, whichever is minimum, right? And another coded specification says that the slenderness ratio of the lacing should not be more than, lacing system should not be more than 145, right? And these are the different coded specifications, students. I hope I have just covered these in nutshell. However, for elaborate discussions, you may go to the previous video wherein we have discussed that elaborately, right? Now, let us see a numeric problem. I'll just go back to the problem what we have seen the other day. This is how the problem we have discussed, right? Wherein the problem was like this. Just bear for a moment, right? Yeah, this is the problem. Design a built up column 10 meter long, carrying an axial compression force of 1080 kilonewton to carry a 1080 kilonewton. However, the column is restrained in position, not in direction, means it is hinged at both the ends. Provide single lacing system in bolted connections. Use Fe 410 grade steel and 4.6 grade bolts. 4.6 grade bolts means ordinary black bolts, right? Use two channels placed back to back. That was the previous problem, right? Use two channels back to back, previous problem. However, we already designed that. Now in today's class, I'll redesign. Now today's problem is redesign this problem, right, wherein the channels are placed toe to toe, right, toe to toe like this, right, or face to face. That is of the problem, student, right? Now that is of the data given, student. Now let me go to the what is the data given and what I need to do, right? This is how the two channels are facing each other. Just now I have shown this, right, like this, right? However, the spacing, I need to find out the spacing between these two channels which are toe to toe facing each other. Therefore, now I'll first propose the section, right? Hence, now if I go to this page number 44, let me go to this page number 44 of IS 800, student, right? Page number 44, yes, 44, 68, yeah. Wherein this channel, right, I am there in table 10 buckling class of the sections, right? Therefore, this channel about any axis, the buckling class is C. Therefore, I just noted down that data. Therefore, the buckling class is C. And for this problem, the given data is the length is given as a 10 meter and load is given. This already presumed to be factor load, student, right? 1080 kilonewton, and this is hinged at both the ends. Therefore, if I go to this table 11 of IS 800 2007, page number 45. Let me go to that table 11, right? Table 11, page number 45. Next page, student, right? Wherein it is restrained in translation and free at the rotation. Free in rotation at one end as well as at the other end, means it is hinged. Therefore, the effective length factor is equal to 1. The effective length factor is 1. Therefore, I just noted down that. Hence, the effective length itself is the unsupported length, right? Now there is a first subheading, student. Now what I'll do is I'll propose the section. I'll propose a trial section for the built-up column like this, right? Therefore, to start with, keeping into the experience, I am assuming the slenderness ratio as 70, right? Therefore, now what I'll do is I'll go to this table 9C, right? Let me go to that page number 42 of IS 800. 9C, page 42, yes, I'm there in 9C. Therefore, for this is a design compressive stress FCD for buckling class C, right? For Fy is equal to 250, because the steel is given as use Fe 410 grade steel. Therefore, for which ultimate stress Fu is equal to 400 and Fy yield stress is equal to 250. Therefore, for this 250 and for assumed slenderness ratio of lambda is equal to 70, FCD is equal to design compressive stress is equal to 152. Just I am noting down that parameter, student, right? I am noting down that parameter. Therefore, now I do have that parameter. Hence, the area required is equal to A is equal to 1080 divided by 152. It works out, say, approximately 7,105. However, for the trial section, because I am fixing a trial section, student, therefore you increase this area by 25 to 50%. Right? As a student, you increase only by 50%, student. But now I want to optimize the section. Hence, I am proceeding with the 25% extra. Hence, now it works out, so approximately 1.25 multiplied by 7105. Say approximately 8882 mm square, or say around 9,000 mm square. Right? Now, hence, now I obtained that area is approximately equal to, say, 8882 mm square, right? Whereas we are assuming two channels. Therefore, the area of the each channel is 4441, approximately 4441 mm square for each of the channel, right? Approximately mm square. Therefore, now what I'll do is I'll go to this SP61, which is Structural Engineering Handbook 1, Table 2, page number 6, right? From that, now I'll choose. Let me go to that section, student. ISMC 300. Bear for a moment, right? Therefore, this is ISMC 300. I'm choosing this section, student, wherein at the rate of 35.8 kg per meter, for which area provided for each of these channel section is equal to 4564 mm square. Therefore, even I'll note down the other relevant properties from this same table. Therefore, this area provided is 4564 is much greater than that trial section area. What we are trying is approximately 4441 mm square. Therefore, it should be okay. Therefore, I'll just note down the other relevant properties are like this from the table, that area 4564 and CYY is equal to 23.6 and moment of inertia about the major axis 6362.6 10 to the power 4 and moment of inertia about minor axis 310.8 10 to the power 4 10 to the power 4 mm to the power 4, and the depth of the section or height of the section is equal to 300 mm and width of the flange BF is equal to 90 mm and RYY is equal to 26.1, which itself is and also RXX is equal to 118.1. Therefore, out of these two, for individual section R min, for single section R min is equal to 26.1, and also CYY is equal to 23.6, right? That is how the data I have noted from this SP61, page number 6, student, right? Now, once I know this data, student, what now I'll do is I'll proceed with further calculations, right? How now I want to find out this spacing. Therefore, what should be that spacing, right? However, now the code says that the spacing, for obtaining that spacing, what now I need to do is that I need to proceed like this, right? Therefore, let me see this, right? Now, let us see this, however, the actual slenderness ratio of this built up column is equal to KL by R. However, KL is equal to 10 meter, 10,000 mm divided by R. However, please see that R min for the built up section, as per the discussion just now we have seen that IYY shall not be less than IZZ, means RYY shall not be less than RZZ. Therefore, RZZ itself is RXX itself is the minimum radius of gyration. Therefore, for the built up section, RXX will be the minimum. However, for the built up section, RYY will not be 26.1 because it is spaced at some distance apart. It will be maintained in such a fashion that it is just greater than 118.1 or just greater than RXX. Hence, for the built up section, RXX is minimum. Hence, if I divide with that 118.1, not 26.1, please make a note, student, right? Therefore, I will feel showing that it is crossed. No, don't do that, right? 118.1. Now it works out for the built up section, the slenderness ratio is equal to 84.67, which is less than 180. Therefore, it is okay. Now, however, I want to find out this just now we have discussed that RYY should be greater than RXX and IYY should be greater than IXX. Therefore, I want to find out the spacing S between these two channels, right? Let S be the spacing between these two channels, right? Which is the clear spacing, right? Therefore, now, which is in terms of mm, which is the distance between the toe to toe of these two channels. Therefore, I want to find out that S spacing using this condition that IYY should be greater than or equal to IXX, right? Therefore, if that is the case, then the moment of inertia about the major axis for the built up section is equal to 2 multiplied by IZZ is equal to, using the parallel axis theorem, the moment of inertia of the YY axis, weak axis, is equal to 2 multiplied by IYY plus area of each of the channel multiplied by S by 2. Please see this, right? S by 2 plus BF minus CYY whole square, right? Therefore, that is how the moment of inertia about this centroidal vertical axis, right? S by 2, right? BF minus this CY, right? That is how transferred to the centroidal axis for each of this column. Therefore, for two columns, right? Therefore, outside 2, right? Therefore, substituting the numeric values, now I do have 2 gets cancel. Hence, substituting the numeric values here, now I do have, right, 6362.6 10 to the power 4 is equal to 310.8 10 to the power 4 plus 4564 multiplied by S by 2 plus 90 minus 23.6 whole square. Solving which, now I'll get the spacing between these toe to toe is equal to 97.5 97.5, right? Now let us see this, right? This spacing, right? Now let me go to this further calculation, student, right? Therefore, once I do this, now I want to design this single lacing, right? Hence, for that now what I'll do is, now assume the inclination of this lacing as the 45 degree. Hence, now I do have this as per this class 7.6.5.1 page number 50. Just now we have seen that slenderness ratio should be minimum of 50 or 0.7 times the actual slenderness ratio. Just now we have already calculated 0.7 multiplied by 84.61. It works out to 59.27. Out of these two, the minimum is 50 only. Therefore, it is okay. Right? Furthermore, now I want to find out the spacing. Therefore, now the distance between the bolts, right, these two bolts, right, is this one. This distance is equal to, from this schematic, S plus 2 multiplied by BF minus G, because this distance is G from the steel tables, right? Therefore, substituting the numeric values, now I do have S is already obtained as 97.5 plus 2 multiplied by breadth of the flange. Breadth of the flange is 90 minus this gauge distance from steel tables. Just now we have noted down is equal to 50. Is equal to 50. It works out, say 177.5 is the distance between the CG of the bolts to CG of this bolt, right? This distance, student, right? Now, once I get that distance, therefore this is what I am drawing, that has 177.5, right? And now, however, the spacing should be obtained in such a fashion that A by R should be less than 50. Therefore, if that is the case, therefore A by 2, that A by 2. Now I do have, because this inclination is equal to 45 degree as per this assumption, which is just greater than 40 and less than 70 degree, hence it is okay. Because of this 45 degree inclination, therefore this opposite side must also be the same, adjacent side 177. Hence from this figure I can say A by 2 is equal to 177.5. Therefore A, the spacing of the lacing system, single lacing system, is equal to 355 mm. 355 mm. However, the radius of gyration for each individual channel is equal to 26.5. Therefore, if I check that, therefore slenderness ratio A by R is equal to 355 divided by, for individual channel, is equal to 26.1. Therefore, for this lacing system, the slenderness ratio is equal to 13.6, which is less than 50. Therefore, okay. Therefore, which is less than 50. This one. Therefore, okay. For this single lacing system, therefore it is okay. Once it is okay, now what I'll do is I'll further proceed with the designs, right? Therefore I want to fix the section, right? I want to fix the section. Hence now I'm determining the transverse shear in each of these member of the lacing. Therefore I'm calculating the design forces. Therefore if I go to this class 7.6.6.1, page number 50, let me go to that page number 50 of IS 800 student, page number 50. Yes, 50. Yes, I am there in that page number 50 student, right? As per this, now I do have the code says that just bear for a moment, right? As per this class, I do have this 7661, right? Yes, 7661. Therefore, the lacing shall be proportional to resist a total transverse force of Vt at any given member equal to 2.5% of the axial force in the member, and it should be divided equally among all the transverse members. Therefore, using that, now I do have 2.5% of the axial load, 1080. However, I do have two parallel systems, right? Two parallel systems. Or let me show in the schematic, in this one, right? This is how I do have right here and here, right? Two. Just now we have obtained this S as 97.5, right? I do have N is equal to 2. Right? Therefore, and just now I obtained this spacing A is equal to 355, right? This I obtained because this was A by 2. And this spacing was some 177, right? Therefore, and this is how N is equal to 2. Two lacings back to back. Therefore, that divided by 2, it works out, say Vt, transverse shear, right? Transverse shear means, right, that is how acting in the horizontal direction, right, which is equal to 13.5 kilonewton. Therefore, now I do have this transverse shear. This is 13.5 student, right? Therefore, here this is 45 degree. Therefore, if I take, right, now I'll get the from this triangle, I do get the for bolt designs, the vertical force due to this 13.5 kilonewton. The vertical force is equal to V by N cot 45, right? That now I'll get as, say, the shear force acting on the bolt system, right? Shear force acting on the bolt system, right? Now, once again, that works out because of this 45 degree, even that the shear force on the bolt will also work out same 13.5 acting in the downward direction. Because of this 13.5, even it works out, say, 13.5 vertical shear also, right? Not only the transverse shear, also vertical shear. However, now I am interested of what is the force, right? The design force in the lacing system, or what is the compression force, design compression force in the lacing system. Therefore, from this schematic, we can say that the design, once I know this as V by N, right? V by N, P by N. Therefore, by taking this, now I'll get this design force in the lacing system as V by N, V, right? Vt by N, that which is equal to 13.5 multiplied by cosecant 45. Therefore, that multiplied by cosecant 45 will work out 19.5. Therefore, the compression force in the lacing is equal to 19.09 kilonewton, right? 19.0 kilonewton. Also, under reversal of stresses case, it will also carry the same tension force, right? 19.09 under reversal of stresses cases, right? Now, once I decide the design forces, student, now let me go to the fixing of the size. Next subheading is how to fix the size, right? Therefore, within that first subheading is the determination of the width of the lacing member. Therefore, as per this class 7.6.2, page number 50, right? 762, page number 50. Let me go to this page number 50, right? 762, right? Now I do have the core size. This you already seen, right? This you already seen. Even this angle also we have seen, right? Yes, this one, right? 762, width of the lacing. Minimum width of the lacing shall be 3 times the nominal diameter of the end bolt or rivet, and as well as the thickness of the lacing shall not be less than 1/40th of its effective length for single lacing system, right? If I am recalling these two codal specifications, right, and I am substituting the numeric values here. Therefore, the minimum width B minimum is equal to 3 times nominal diameter. However, I am assuming the use of 60 mm diameter, nominal diameter bolts. Therefore, 3 multiplied by 16 is equal to 48. Therefore, I will say 50 mm is the width, right? I am assuming as a 50 mm, not less than means 50 mm, and also the thickness as per this should be not less than 1/40th of this effective length, right? Therefore, just now we have seen, therefore the length of this lacing system is equal to square root of this 177.5 whole square plus square root of 177.5 whole square. Therefore, that now works out. Therefore, upon substitution, 1/40th of that value works out, say 6.27. However, the thickness, next thickness what is available is 8 mm. Therefore, R say 8 mm, right? Then, therefore, now I am fixing the section as 50 ISF 8. If I go to Indian Standard Flats, 50 ISF 8 is available. That section is available, right? Therefore, I am fixing that as my lacing system. Now, once I fix this lacing system section, now next subheading is that I want to check the adequacy of the member against the applied design forces or the design forces, right? Is it will it carry the compression force as well as the transverse shear or not? That I'll check. Therefore, now I have to have, because under the compression it is buckling means bending. Therefore, the minimum radius of gyration is about the weak axis. That now works out T by root 12, because that is equal to A divided by square root of I divided by A, whereas I is equal to BT cubed by 12, BT cubed by 12, whereas area is equal to BT. Therefore BT gets cancelled. Therefore square root of T square divided by 12 will work out T divided by under root 12. Therefore thickness is already 8 mm. Therefore 8 divided by square root of 12, it works out say minimum radius of variation of this compression lacing, which is acting as a compression member, is 2.31. And also the length of this lacing system just now we have obtained as square root of 2 multiplied by 177.5 whole square, that works out say 251, right? That 251 divided by 40 itself worked out 6.27 as the thickness, right? And now using this, now I'll get the standardized ratio is equal to KL. However, that length is equal to 251, and I'm assuming that both ends are hinged, right? Hinged, not more than one bolt. Therefore effective length factor K is equal to 1, right? Therefore in such case I can assume not more than one bolt means hinged, right? Therefore 1 multiplied by 251 is the length, actual length, or between the center to center of the bolts is 251 divided by R min. R min is equal to 2.31. It works out say 108 is a standardized ratio which is less than 145 as per this class 7.6.6.3. Now let me go to that 7.6.6.3. Yes, as per this, now you can see that 7.6.6.3 student, right? Yes, this one, right? Now you can see that the standardized ratio of the lacing flat shall not exceed 145. This we already seen the other one, right? 0.7 times that double lacing, right? Therefore it is less than 145. Therefore okay. Means this section is okay. This proposed section is okay from the buckling point of view or from compression point of view. However, I'll also calculate what is that load carrying capacity of this section. Hence this section is a channel section, therefore which is a buckling class C. Hence from this table 9C, page number 42. Now I have to have this standardized ratio 108. Let me go to that page number 42. Right? Yeah, 42. Yes, I am there in that table 9C. Therefore now my standardized ratio is worked out as 108. Therefore 108. Therefore what now I'll do is I'll note down the value of the standardized ratio for 101, right? For standardized ratio 100, what is FCD? It is 107. And also next value is for standardized ratio of 110. The FCD is equal to 94.6 from this table, right? From this table for Fy is equal to 250, right? Therefore I have noted down these two values. Therefore now in between I'll interpolate. Upon interpolation I'll get this design compressive stress upon interpolation as 107 minus 94.6 divided by 10 multiplied by 8. It works out say 97.08 Newton per mm square. Therefore the load carrying capacity of this lacing system is equal to effective area is 50 multiplied by 8 multiplied by FCD is 97.08, that divided by 10 to the power 3. It works out say 38.8 kilonewton, which is much greater than just now we already obtained the design forces. Therefore that is how the compression force in the lacing system is equal to 19.09. Under reversal of stresses cases, the same is the tension. Therefore 38.08 is much greater than 19.09 kilonewton. Therefore it is okay. Means the section is adequate. That section is adequate to take the compression force. However, whether can it take under reversal of stresses cases this much of tension or not, that also I need to check. Hence the next one is check for adequacy of the section to take the tension force in the lacing system, right? Lacing flat, right? Indian standard flat. Therefore if I go to this class 6.2, page number 32, let me go to that page number 32, student, right? Of IS 800 32, right? Now yes, right? And then in the design of the compression members, wherein T must be less than TD, and now I have to have this TD is the lowest of the three values. One, design strength due to yielding of the gross cross section, TDG. Two, rupture of the critical section, TDN. Third one is block shear, TDB. However, here block shear criteria will not come into picture, therefore it is a list of the two. The one, as per class 6.2, design strength due to yielding of the gross cross section, TDG is equal to AG Fi divided by gamma m naught, and the second criteria is design strength due to rupture of critical section of the plates. Actually, this Indian standard flat is a plate, right? It can be treated as a plate, therefore TDN is equal to 0.9 AN Fu divided by gamma m1. Therefore, as per these two codal specifications, now I am calculating first due to rupture of the yielding of the gross cross section, TDG is equal to Fu divided by gamma m naught AG. However, for the steel, Fi is equal to 250 divided by 1.1, and the gross area of this lacing flat is equal to 50 multiplied by 8. Therefore, that will be 10 to the power 3. It works out, say, 90.91 kilonewton in gross cross section yielding, which is much greater than 19.09 kilonewton. Now, also because we are providing one bolt hole like this, right? Therefore, now the area at this hole, right, over this width of 50 will reduce by one hole. However, as per this for 16 mm diameter bolt, the increase in the hole area, hole diameter is 2 mm. Therefore, 16 plus 2 is equal to 18. Therefore, now the effective width is 50 minus 18, one diameter of the hole, right? Is the effective width. That multiplied by its thickness is equal to 8. Therefore, that is the net area that multiplied by 0.9 Fu 410 divided by 1.25. That divided by 10 to the power 3. It works out, say, 75.57, which is also greater than 19. However, the tension capacity is the least of these two. Therefore, the least of these two is 75.57 is the tension capacity of this lacing system or lacing flat, Indian standard flat. Therefore, 75.57 tension capacity is much more than, under reversal of stresses cases, only 19.09 kilonewton can be expected. Therefore, it is okay, means it can take 19.09 kilonewton also. Hence, this is my final section, because it is taking this much of compression, 19.09, as well as a tension. Hence, my final section is 50 ISF, Indian standard flat 8 is the final section for the single lacing system. Now, once I conclude that, now let me go to the next subheading as the design of the bolted connections for this built up section with single lacing system. Now, let me go to this class 10.3.3, page number 75, right? Page number 75. Let me go to visit to this page number 75, student, right? 75. Yes. Therefore, I am there in the bolted connections as per this class IS 800 2007, class 10.3.3. Shear capacity of the bolt VDSB is equal to VNSB divided by gamma MB, where VNSB is equal to Fu divided by root 3 NN multiplied by A and B, right? And the second one is the bearing capacity of the bolt also is equal to VDPB is equal to VNPB divided by gamma MB, where VNPB is equal to nominal bearing strength of the bolt is equal to 2.5 kb dt Fu, where kb is the least of the 4. 1 E divided by 3D naught, 2 P divided by 3D naught minus 0.25, 3 FUB divided by FU, and 4 is 1. Therefore, now once I go through this codal specification, let me substitute into these at a quicker pace. Therefore, the design capacity of the design shear strength of this bolt, right? You please see that we are providing a overlapping lacing system, like this, overlapping lacing system, right, like this. Therefore these are under double shear, because one shear is there between the two lacing uh, overlappings, and one more shear plane is there with the section. Therefore it is under double shear. Therefore nn is equal to 2, right? Or let me show in this schematic, right, like this, right? Therefore I'm just providing a overlapping like this. Therefore here one shear plane, and between these two Indian standard flats, right, here, right, here one, and one more is there between this Indian standard flat with that of the channel section. Therefore it is under double shear. Right? Once you understood that, I hope you understood that, right? Therefore nn is equal to 2. Therefore substituting the numeric values, now I do get this result as, say, a value 400 divided by 1.25 divided by root 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 157. Say it works out so a value 58.01 kilonewton in double shear, right? However, if I want to calculate the strength of the bolt in bearing, then I need to find out what is the pitch. Therefore, as per this class 10.2.2, page number 73, let me go to that page number 73, student, right? Let me also revisit that page number 73 at a quicker pace. Yes, these are that page number 73, student, wherein the minimum pitch as per this is shall not be less than 2.5 times the nominal diameter. Even this 2 mm extra clearance we already seen from table 2, and the maximum spacing for the compression member should not be more than 12 times T or 200 mm, whichever is minimum. As well as from this class 10.2.4, the minimum edge distance shall be 1.5 times the hole diameter if it is the holes are made with the machine flame cut or sawn or plain edges, right? Generally we will be assuming the machine cut or machine punching, right? Therefore if I use these data, therefore the pitch should be greater than 2 times the nominal diameter. Therefore it works out, say, 2.5 multiplied by 16. Therefore it works out, say, 40 mm, and also edge distance should be 1.5 times the hole diameter, right? However, the diameter of the hole is equal to 18, right? 1.8 multiplied by 18 is equal to 27 mm, or say that edge distance, this edge distance is equal to, say, 30 mm. This edge distance is equal to 30 mm, student, and this pitch is equal to 40 mm. These are my assumptions, right? Therefore for these assumptions, now I'll calculate what is the KB. Therefore E divided by 3D naught, it now works out upon substitution 30 divided by 3 multiplied by 18, say 0.55. The second criteria, P divided by 3D naught minus 0.25 is equal to 40 divided by 3 multiplied by 18 minus 0.25 is equal to 0.491. The third criteria, FUB divided by FU is equal to 400 divided by 410 is equal to 0.975. And the fourth one is 1. Therefore out of all these, the second one, 0.491, is the least one, or say approximately 0.49. Therefore KB. Now I'll substitute those values here to find out the bearing capacity of the bolt, in bearing criteria, right? Is equal to 2.5 multiplied by 0.491 multiplied by 16. Diameter of the bolt is 16. Now let us see what is the thickness. Of this connection for bearing, right? You please see that here I do have the thickness for the bearing, right? Thickness of the bearing is the Indian standard flat is 8 mm is connected to another 8 mm, right? Which is connected to the flange thickness TF of the channel. Therefore out of these, right, the flange thickness of the channel is much greater than this 8 mm. Therefore this 8 mm flat, Indian standard flat, will fail first. Therefore 8 mm is the thickness for the bearing. Therefore 16 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 410 divided by 1.25 divided by 10 to the power 3, it works out, say, 51.54. 54, right? Therefore, now the bolt value, the next subheading is bolt value is the minimum of these two values. Therefore, the first one is 58.01, the next one is 51.54. Therefore, 51.54 is the minimum value, right? Once I get this, I want to get the number of bolts, right? However, let us see that the force in the intersecting bolts, right? Let me show this, right? In the intersecting bolts, right here, right, is right, one force is 13.5, right, and also another 13.5. Therefore, this bolt is under the action of 13.5 plus 13.5. Therefore, it is equal to under the action of shearing action of summation of two 13.5s is equal to 27. Please make a note, student, right? If only single lacing is provided, only 13.5, right? However, at the same time, another intersecting lacing, right? If it is non-intersecting lacing, only 13.5, right? However, like this, non-intersecting only 13.5, because it is intersecting. Therefore, 13.5 plus 13.5, which is equal to 27. Hence, the number of bolts, that we need to provide, is equal to this total force is equal to, total force is equal to 27 divided by the bolt value is equal to 51.4. Therefore, it is less than 1, or say approximately 1. Therefore, even we already assumed that I am going to provide only one bolt only, because of which only the effective length factor for this lacing system was 1. Therefore, that is true. My assumption was correct, right? Therefore, that is how the design is now fixed. The design is now fixed, right, for the lacing, right? However, even we need to design a batten plate also, at the end, right, like this, right? Let me show this, right? At the end, a batten plate is also required, student, right? Like this, right? You may be seeing a batten plate at the end, right? Therefore, how this batten plate need to be designed, the other day you already seen in the previous video. Please see it elaborately. Therefore, as per this class 7.7.2.3, page number 51, right? Page number 51, right? Let me go to that page number 51, student. Yes, page number 51, right? Yes, I'm there in that page number 51, right? 7. Yes. As per this class, now I do have the effective depth 7723. Just bear for a minute, right? 7723. Yes, 7723. Yes, this is that size, right? The length shall have an effective depth not less than the perpendicular distance between the centroids of the main members. However, for intermediate battens, right, this is not less than the 3/4 of this distance, right? Now, therefore, if I examine this, now let us see the effective depth. Effective depth is now calculated as S from this figure, S plus 2 multiplied by BF minus CYY. However, the code says that it should be greater than 2 times the width of that flange. Therefore, upon substitution, 97.5 plus 2 multiplied by 90 minus 23.5, it works out, say, 230.5. However, 2 multiplied by width of the flange is equal to 90, which is equal to 180. Hence, 230.5 is greater than 180. Therefore, it is okay. Hence, the overall depth is equal to the effective depth plus two edge distances, right? 30 plus 30, right? Hence, 230 plus 60, it works out, say, approximately 290. And also from the same class 7.2.3, let me go to that, right? 7.7.2.3, even the code says that thickness of the batten or tie plate, actually this is the tie plate, not less than 1/50th of the distance between the innermost connecting lines of the rivets. Therefore, substituting into this, now I would have thickness should not be less than 1/50th of the innermost distance between the rivets is nothing but S plus 2 multiplied by BF minus G, right? Therefore, substituting which now I'll get the result as say that is equal to 177.5. We already calculated in the previous subheading, that divided by 50, say not less than 3.55 or say 4, right? Or say 4 because 4 mm thickness batten plates are available, right? Hence, provide a batten plate of overall depth 290 mm, overall depth 290 mm, and a thickness of 4 mm, and the width itself is equal to the outer to outer distance between the channels, right? That is equal to that now works out say 97.5 plus 180, 97.5 plus 180. Therefore, whose width is equal to 277.5, right? 277.5, and the depth, this depth just now we have seen that this depth worked out overall depth worked out 290, and the thickness is equal to 4 mm as shown in this figure. Now I am showing this figure once again, right? As shown in this figure, right, at the top, right? This is how that as shown in this figure. However, let us see this like this. Once I conclude this, right, like this, right? This is a double lacing system, right? At the top we have provided a batten system also, right? I hope you enjoyed the discussions what we had in today's class, student, right? If you have really enjoyed the discussions, don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, comment, turn on notification to our YouTube channel. We'll meet in the next class. We'll find out the effective length of the columns, right? Till then, bye bye students.